And welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. It's your host, Rob, a.k.a. B-Ball Archives. And once again, I got the bums in the house. AJ James, thanks for joining me this evening. All of this is brought to you by Love You Hard TV. And we got some exciting playoff action to get to. A lot of first-round matchups, some of them exciting, some of them are actually bullshit. So, but you know what? We're going to get to all
NBA TV specials.
Right, exactly. Yeah. A couple of 1 versus 8 matchups that we're going to force ourselves to watch just because we have to. But at the end of the day, we're here talking about it because we love hoops. And let's dive on in, guys. How are you feeling about playoffs so far?
Feeling good, but I also want to say thank you, Rob, for allowing Roundball Renaissance, Austin, and I to do a WrestleMania podcast. We spent an hour and 20 minutes talking about WrestleMania 41. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It is a lot of fun. We get kind of into details. You can see how into it we are, and you can make fun of us as much as you want. It's totally fine.
But fucking marks.
Yeah, but Rob, thanks for allowing us. And I think Rob's like, man, I don't know why I'm over here, but love them talk wrestling. Why not?
Hey guys, y'all had a passionate conversation. I'm glad to produce anything where people are having a genuine, passionate conversation. And you know what? And I don't know what y'all were talking about most of the time, but I could tell that I could tell that y'all were really into it, and that means something.
Absolutely. Well, we're here to talk basketball, and these playoffs, these first couple games, they've been interesting. They've been interesting to say the least. And, you know, I kind of want to dedicate this 2025 playoffs to the 2025, I guess, what's a good word I can use here? The play flops, I would say. Because, I mean, dude, every game, like Jalen Brunson getting calls, them cheering about it. Like, dude, this is wild right now. And it's hard to watch sometimes, but we've still gotten some good games out of it.
Yeah, we've gotten some good games, and honestly, I think it's gone pretty according to our breakdown from the previous episode of what we thought. A lot of that has come to fruition through the first game or two of some of these series.
Absolutely. Yeah, some of the more exciting ones that we identified early on have indeed been some of the more exciting ones. Like one of the ones, Clippers Nuggets. They're chilling out 1-1 right now. Kawhi looks like he's ready to be playoff Kawhi. He was 15 for 19 in game 2. Looked really ready to be that kind of guy on both sides of the floor that we know he can be when he's healthy and ready to produce. He literally had hand up in Jokic's face at the very end of the game contesting his potentially game-winning shot. So, this Clippers team, this Nuggets team, I think they both really want to win this, and this is going to be probably a 7-game series, James, like we were saying earlier in the breakdown.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And last night really felt like a classic Kawhi moment because after game one, I don't know if y'all will agree with this, really felt like the Clippers should have won that game. And the fact that they didn't, they could not go back to LA down 2-0. And for Kawhi to come out and just say, basically, get on my back, I'm not missing tonight. And that's what you saw. And it was just a classic performance there. And, I still have no real beat on which way this series is going to go.
Yeah, and it also helps that you have a guy like James Harden who is kind of, has some playoff scars on his back. So it's always good to kind of have someone there. But you can tell that Kawhi's the man at LA, and he doesn't have to share the ball with anybody. And we saw that last night. Like 39 points is no joke. And he stepped up to the plate. And we forget because he's been injured for like the past 5 playoff runs that they've had. So we forget that, this guy's an NBA champion, NBA MVP. So, now he's back and you're like, oh shit, like this is Kawhi.
Yeah.
So we'll see how long this works.
Regarding James Harden, has anyone gone to LA and become less famous before? Because I feel like that's what James Harden has done. Like he's ego, his whole, I'm going to go blow up this team here. That whole thing seems to have taken a back seat, and he's almost just one of the guys now. And it's an interesting dynamic to see. But I I still don't really know this series because you look at Jokic's numbers last night. He had a triple-double, but there were several confounding moments of that game where it was just like, oh, well, that's not what I'm used to seeing from him.
Yeah, well, I think you hit the nail on the head. He had 7 turnovers last game. That's actually the most he's had in a game since 2023. And I think the Clippers kind of identified how you have to play Jokic. When he catches the ball, you have to blitz him and force him to make a quick decision. And of course, Jokic can still make a really smart decision in a short amount of time, but it's going to cause him to make maybe a few more mistakes than he naturally would. And you saw the result of that last night. That was 7 turnovers and just a little bit of confusion in some moments within the Denver offense.
Yeah, and I think the TNT broadcast, or maybe it was ESPN, I can't remember who broadcast game one, but they hit on it early and often during that game on Saturday that during Jokic's career, I think that spans 10 years now, nobody in the NBA has guarded him one-on-one better than Zubats has. And so that's a unique advantage that they have, not to mention that you have Kawhi Leonard out there playing free safety. So, I mean, this series really just feels like it's Jokic against the Clippers. It's just who else can possibly come along for the ride to make it, that full 6-7 games for the Nuggets.
And as I saw on Twitter, Russell Westbrook is the mystery box in Mario Kart because you never know what you're going to get. I don't know what's going to happen. If it's going to be a good game, it's going to be a bad game. Is he going to make his layup? Is he going to botch his layup? I mean, there's so many things, and he's such a wild card that I think the Nuggets go as Westbrook goes. And if Westbrook has like an efficient game and he makes some good plays, they're going to win. But if he just becomes himself like of old and makes a lot of mistakes and just is really kind of his speed so fast that his brain can't keep up. So that's how I feel about Westbrook. But yeah, I mean, to your point, Rob, like it's basically it's Jokic and who else?
It was so damn funny in game one. At the end of game one, Ty Lue basically just piloted the end of the game to be like, I'm gonna bet on Russell Westbrook doing Russell Westbrook stuff and taking and missing a dumb shot and us going to overtime. And that's literally exactly what happened.
Yeah, Houston.
And so he's like, I'm gonna bet on Jokic making the right decision, passing it to the open man, but I'm gonna make sure that open man is Russell Westbrook. And once it was, everybody knew what was gonna happen.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, and that's a clear recipe for how you win a basketball game is force it out of Jokic's hands and force him to make a pass to an inconsistent shooter. And of course, game one, Russell Westbrook had a couple of really clutch moments, but like you were saying, AJ, it's a mystery box. Sometimes it's a complete coin flip whether you're going to get a player that you can rely on and you can trust to support your key guys, and that's Russell Westbrook, or are you going to get a guy that's going to take a bunch of ill-advised mid-range jumpers and potentially blow a really key moment in your game? Both those guys are Russ.
Well, yeah, and they also have kind of a different version of that with Michael Porter Jr., who is like, is he going to care? He's a bit of a Charizard. Is like, if he's on, look the hell out, because he could give you 25 and 10 on any given night, but also he could give you 5 and 2 and just look totally disengaged sometimes.
And I'm glad you brought him up because he's been on the bench in clutch moments. He hasn't been on the court, and it's interesting to see. And you look at this Clippers team, and you're like, man, they got good players, and it's no surprise that Leonard's leading the pack. But guys like Norm Powell, guys like Ben Simmons, even Derek Jones Jr., like those guys are defensive minded. Even Ben Simmons, who can't sometimes make a layup in the ocean, but he's a big body. He's 6'10". Like he can still go at people. And it seems that once you get cornrows and you play for the Lakers, you're going to have a good game.
No, and it'll be interesting if this Clippers team goes on a run, and even if projecting forward, if they win a title, how history views them, because there's not really a precedent for a team like this.
It'd be wild if Ben Simmons got a chip. Could you imagine?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, we like this Clippers team because they're playing together and they're obviously putting up a really solid match against a solid Western Conference opponent, but that's a far
That's far. It's far away.
That's a far stretch away from a contender.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Clippers Nuggets. That's definitely one of the more exciting series. I'm also looking at another one of the series that we had identified earlier on as one of the more potential exciting ones, and it's sitting at 1-1 right now, and that's Pistons Knicks.
Yeah.
And I'm really loving what we saw or what I saw from the Pistons last game. Obviously, it's their first win, their first playoff win since 2008.
That's insane.
Their first playoff win in 17 years. Absolutely crazy. And I liked the aggressiveness we saw from Cade. He had he had 20 points in the first half, 7 rebounds, not a single assist. He said, "Fuck passing. I'm gonna go to the basket. I'm gonna channel my inner Melo and just get buckets, not look for anybody." And then you know what? It actually ended up being the right move. And and that's kind of what they need. They need him to take over sometimes. And I think that's going to be the key moving forward.
Yeah, the Pistons have to be confident, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like this is a freak run away from being a 2-0 series with them taking both games in the Garden.
Oh yeah.
No, absolutely. And you got to look at how those games both turned out, and that Knicks team in the second game, they looked like they were running in mud at times. I mean, they look tired. It looks like they've been playing 40 minutes a game the entire season, which they have, and they don't have super depth on their bench. And Thibodeau's not going to play these guys more than 7 deep, if that. And so basically, what you're seeing is, yes, they're veterans, yes, they're older, but if you're going to run that, Pistons are a lot younger and a lot more springier than the Knicks are.
Yeah,
Right.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks, and that's the demise of seemingly every Tom Thibodeau team is just they get run into the ground. Especially going on 2-3 years in as he leads the team. It's just too many minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is too many minutes, and I will cede that point. But at the same time, I think they just got genuinely out-toughed. Like, I look at Tobias Harris getting 13 rebounds, Cade getting 13, Jalen Duren getting 12, I think. It's just all these guys are having a field day in the paint, just getting these rebounds where, sometimes they need to be getting pushed out. Like, Tobias Harris shouldn't be getting that many boards when he's being matched up on Karl Anthony Towns more often than not. It's like that
Beast Stew didn't even play last night.
Right.
Exactly. That needs to be a successful box out, and those opportunities need to be squashed. And I saw New York just give up those time and time again. And yeah, it just kind of looked like they got out toughed. And if Detroit's going to out rebound them 48 to 30 to 34, then then I think that they're going to take this series.
Yeah, I heard someone say after game 1, it just seems like the Pistons' strategy is, can we make Cat cry? and I think they made a pretty good job. Or they did a pretty good job of it last night. It's just can you beat him up? Can you make getting his tough? If you can, then I think your chances of beating this team go up.
You're also not going to win a lot of series when your bench is scoring only 8 points. That's just a given. You need a second unit and guys to come in to relieve those starters, and just Tom Thibodeau's is not going to be that guy.
And I believe Miles McBride scored all eight of those points. He was the only guy to score off the bench. That is atrocious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, they went to their bench fairly early. So the guys that did get some run got some just garbage time. So their bench isn't even what it is from the box scores. So just something to put into note there. But yeah, man, I'm excited to see this Pistons team, man. They're playing together and they're playing well. It looks like they've gelled, and they have a catalyst in Cade Cunningham, and he's I think he's a most improved finalist.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he should win it. I mean, that dude has really turned a corner, and he's showing like he's the number one pick.
Yeah, and I think just looking ahead a little bit, I think the Knicks are one of the most interesting teams in the offseason if this series goes the way we all think it might go and the Pistons advance, because it's just like, okay, you clearly have a good team. We've seen that borne out over the past few years, but like, now what?
Right.
Right. I mean, I'm strongly questioning a Jalen Brunson led team at that point. Not to say he's not a great player, but I'm just strongly questioning a team where he's the best player, the number one option we're relying on. But I want to just bring up one quick thing about this series. Tom Thibodeau was saying that the free throw discrepancy was atrocious, that the Knicks took 19 free throws, the Pistons took 34, and that this was a huge reason why the Knicks didn't get that win in Game 2. I'm not really seeing it that way. I thought the Pistons just played more aggressive. Do you think like it was the refs that were?
No, what was the count? Like 24 fouls to 22, or
You
something
got to
like
earn
that?
that whistle in the playoffs. You know, like you gotta. You can get calls, but you got to not be so soft. Don't get pushed off the spot so easily.
Yeah. And I mean, Jalen Brunson got a lot of calls, man. He got a lot of calls, and he's doing that Chris Paul trick where he's stopping in front of people and they're pushing, and he's leaning in a lot. And it's like, if you just went up with it, you're probably going to get a call. But like now that you're emphasizing it, like don't be surprised in Game 3 he doesn't get any of those calls. I mean, he might get one or two, but he's not going to get the same love that he got in the Garden.
That place is going to be an absolute madhouse in Detroit.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my gosh!
Just a shit show. It's gonna be great.
There's gonna be a lot of Little Caesars going around.
They're about to get hit with the motorcade.
That's a good one. I hadn't heard that before.
So that's honestly, and I'm glad this is shaping up to be one of the more exciting series because we were talking about it, and the matchup is compelling, and it's unfolding right before our eyes.
For sure.
And
but also quick shout out to Dennis Schroeder, by the way. Shout out to him. He definitely fumbled a bag, but he's been able to continue his career, and now he's looking at a playoff run here. So shout out to him for not really giving up. And if I turned away $80 million, I might check myself into a mental institution, but he did not.
Yeah, seriously.
I forgot about that story.
Well, and I mean, he just kind of. Just in life, he kind of shit the bed because he also made that comment about like NBA trades and the trade deadline, like associating it with slavery. And then he got traded like twice right after that. And I was like, oh man, that's just a weird look for you, bro. I'm sorry, dude.
I cannot wait for that Netflix documentary of Dennis Schroeder's career.
Yeah. That's just a weird moment, but at the end of the day, he's getting paid to hoop. He's a multi-millionaire, and he's still helping. Yeah, he's still helping teams win games. So shout out to him.
Yeah, speaking of Netflix documentaries, real quick, did y'all see that trailer for the Gilbert Arenas Javaris Crittenton documentary? Yeah. Shooting guards.
Dude, that's gonna be great.
Yeah, it drops May 6th, so I'm here for that.
Yeah, before my birthday.
Let's chat about it on an episode.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's move right along to some of the other series I feel like people are looking at, they're eyeing a little bit. Minnesota, LA. Let's talk about the Lakers a little bit.
I don't know what the Lakers are doing. That game 1 was weird to watch. I don't think they understand that the 3-point line exists at all, because Minnesota was just raining 3-pointers, and it wasn't even like a hand in the face and they just were making shots. They were wide open. All three of us could have gotten a shot off in that game. That's how they were trying to go no middle like in college, but hey, we're in the NBA. That doesn't work. And just guys were just raining 3-point. It wasn't Nas Reed had like 4 or 5 3-pointers in the first half. Like, dude, you got to figure that out. But I think JJ Redick might be a little over his head in NBA playoffs.
Maybe. You know who was the most enthusiastic watcher of that game, rooting for the Timberwolves?
Nico Harrison.
Nico Harrison. He's like, I told you, motherfuckers, his defense wins championships. Yeah. No. If Luka's going to continue to be food on the defensive end, which he is absolutely food on the defensive end, and the Timberwolves make no bones about hiding it, then the Lakers might have a bit of a problem because, to your point, AJ, JJ Redick did a really good job of scheming up defense for this team for 82 games during the regular season. But that ability doesn't always translate to the postseason when you have an experienced opponent who can make adjustments from game to game. And so it'll be interesting to see going forward. I don't expect the Timberwolves to shoot 21 for 42 from 3, which was what they were on Saturday night. But I don't think they frankly needed that to handle the Lakers.
Would it surprise you if they did it again?
If they do, then this whole LeBron-Luka blueprint is in a little bit of trouble, I think.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily. I'm not saying that the Luka-LeBron relationship isn't doing its thing, because I think that this team is still missing pieces, even though they finished high in the Western Conference. And I think Jaden McDaniels said it perfectly in his post-game interview after Game 1. He said, when Jackson Hayes is out of the game, I'm taller than everyone else on their team.
Yeah.
And I think that there is such an obvious front court discrepancy, and that's why you see Jaden McDaniels and Naz Reid go a combined 19 for 25, because they're able to get bunnies as well as hit three balls, because there's no one guarding them. There's really no one that's able to get a hand in their face. And so when I look at it like that, they're not being troubled enough. Both of them only committed one turnover because they're not being pressured enough. They're not actually being forced to take difficult shots on threes, not being forced to take difficult shots down low. And that's going to be the Lakers' Achilles heel.
Yep. And Jackson Hayes played 8 minutes on Saturday night. And so it's just like, if your adjustment is play more Jackson Hayes, then I think you're in a little bit of trouble just on principle alone. And B, I think Naz Reid is really kind of the key to this series, because the Lakers love to play that small ball style. But with him, you have that guy. It doesn't really matter if the Lakers are able to play Rudy Gobert off the floor in this series, because Naz Reid can do everything that plays into that, small ball 5 strategy.
Oh yeah.
And don't forget, you have Ant-Man as your closer and your superstar. So if he's cooking Luka the way that he was, I mean, dude, this thing was like hilarious to me when he just looked right at him and just put his hand up. I mean, and that's that's what you don't want a Timberwolves team to do, is get confidence. Because if they get confidence, they can make a run. We saw it happen, was last year, a couple years ago, and Julius Randle had a great game too. He was able to make pump fakes and take it to the rack because there's no one down low to defend. And also, like, play flops, man. Luka and LeBron James, like, those refs don't get paid enough to do these games, because to see them complain as much as they did, and for LeBron James to go viral with that picture of him kneeling, pleading to the ref, like, that's not a good look for our greatest player of all time. So that's my biggest bugaboo with these Lakers, is that they're too busy talking to the refs and talking to the cameras, and they're just getting blown out in the game. So I hope this series gets a little more interesting, but I don't see it getting any better.
I think this has to be an Austin Reeves series. He has to have an impact, because on paper, like, Dante DiVincenzo should be too small to guard him. Mike Conley should be too old to play in this series. But if the Lakers can't take advantage of kind of the Timberwolves' soft underbelly of a backcourt, then I don't see how they win this series.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I know that earlier on we picked LA to be advancing in this series, but I don't really see how our prediction pans out. So we could be in trouble with our playoff bracket, guys.
It's all
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Bronny James got on the court, so that's all
We'll
that
see.
matters.
We'll see how this is game 2 tonight, right?
Yes, right.
Okay.
Should.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
that.
it's tonight.
I know that Pacers Bucks is about to start right now.
Yeah, it's tonight. It's just super late, like 9 p.m. our
Okay.
time, so I'll be asleep.
Yeah. All right. So there we go. We talked a little Lakers, T-Wolves. Moving right along, we're gonna bring up some Warriors, Rockets.
Oof.
This was another series that we were like, hey, this could be. Hey, we got a team that has a lot of experience, been there, done that, versus a lot of young, talented athletes. We knew that this was going to be a clash of just two completely different styled teams, and we're seeing a good matchup so far, and we're seeing experience prevail in game one, and it's nice to have Steph Curry on your team hitting clutch shots, isn't it, guys?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. If you would have told me game one, the Warriors would score 95 points, I'd have been, Rockets can win that game. And the fact is they got 85 points and they lost the game,
Yeah.
which is a little concerning because I don't know how much longer you can really contain a guy like Steph Curry. I'm not to say that they contained him, but in comparison to the moments that he had, but just looking at this Warriors team, they're ready to make a push and they're ready to fight you as well. This is going to get even more chippy than it was in game one.
The reason I liked the Warriors in this series is because the Rockets are a good team, but they have a lot of good players, but they don't have that guy that I can just say, "Hey, it's playoff time. Everybody's looking at you. Go get me a bucket."
Yeah.
They don't have that guy. And you can say it's Şengün, but we've never seen that, and it's a a low post big. It's like, and at that point, it's, do we even trust Jalen Green and Amen Thompson to get the ball to him in a position to do something with it? Because he's not the Jokic kind of guy that's going to bring the ball up the floor and take it the whole 94 feet. And so I think you're seeing that from the Rockets, and I think you will continue to see that as Ime could scheme up 82 games and make this team tough as hell and get through a regular season and win 50 games, but there's just not that guy. The Warriors have two of them. The Rockets have none of them.
Right. Yeah, you look at like legitimate closers. Like, I'm not viewing Jalen Green or Thompson or Van Vliet as like one of those closers, and the numbers kind of speak for themselves. When we look at 7 for 34, that's what Green and Van Vliet were combined. 2 for 17 from beyond the arc, absolute stinker, and a historically bad shooting game for them. But
At home.
right at home,
At home.
But
Well, it's not the first time we've seen that from the Rockets in a playoff game.
That's very true. That's very true. But you can't shoot that bad against a team that can also punish you offensively, like the Warriors can. And like you were saying, James, they have two closers. So if Steph Curry is cold or is having an off night, one of those rare occasions, Jimmy Butler can go close you a game. He's taken a team to the finals himself. So that's a situation where I trust experience over this young, talented, skilled, athletic core that the Rockets have.
And I don't want to be like too assumptive or anything like that, but when y'all think of Jalen Green, does dependability come to mind in any facet of what we know about Jalen Green?
No, not on the
Exactly,
court
yeah.
or off the court. Neither.
Precisely. And so if I were a Rockets fan, that would make me nervous as this series goes on, just because I feel like as a whole I'm depending on guys that are largely we don't know if we can depend on.
Yeah, and honestly, like the Rockets, they're on they went on a 4 or 3 game skid before the end of the season. So you're kind of limping into the season already, and now you're playing a team that's very motivated because they made it in and they have the experience to do so, and they've made a run like this in the past. So the Rockets really need to get their shit together. Otherwise, it's going to be over quick.
And I don't want to shit on the Rockets because they are a good team.
Okay,
but there's a second step here that is just not taken yet. I don't know if they have it or not. That's a discussion for another day. But there's a delineation between being a good team and being a contender, and I think that's what they're learning right now.
Oh, yeah, because you have to be that team that no matter what they throw at you, you have an answer, you have a counter move. And right now, the only thing I'm seeing is the Rockets are taking advantage of their front court situation because Şengün can score down low against Draymond Green, who's guarding him. Of course, Şengün can score over a much shorter Draymond Green, so they're going to smash that button consistently. And that's what they know how to do. But a lot of these other X factors, like you were saying, aren't really stepping up. And you're going against guys who have consistently stepped up in this moment. So that's you're pushing a rock up a hill.
And also, if you're the Warriors, if they want to go down low, great. That's exactly what we want them to do because we shoot 3-pointers.
Trade 2 for 3.
Threes count more than twos. And that's literally what we've known from this Warriors team with their core. And then you add someone like a Jimmy Butler to that. It's gonna be a long series for the Rockets if they don't kind of figure it out. Also, what do you guys think that I know we kind of touched on Reed Shepherd a couple of times, but to have the number 3 pick just not get any minutes in these playoffs, and also kind of throughout the entire year, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, jury's still out, but I don't love what I've seen. I struggle to understand why he was the number 3 pick because I don't see like a skill that just jumps off as elite.
Right. I mean, I think his 3-point shooting in college was absolutely elite. So I think that he was drafted as a shooter that could catch and shoot off the dribble. In those situations, and his athleticism was a really big upside. But I think that he's in a situation where, he's fighting for minutes with a lot of other talented guards and guys that are just a little bit better than him, if not a lot better than him. And I don't know if that's hurt his confidence, but I still believe in him as an NBA player. I'm not going to chalk him up as a bust yet. But there's no reason why he should be valued over a guy like Stephon Castle. Like there's, like him being drafted over Stephon Castle makes no sense.
I think the problem with him is that he shot really well for that 1 year at Kentucky, but we don't really know if it was 1 year at Kentucky or if that's who he is. And he's not, and I understand the comparison here, but he's not Kirk Heinrich. He's not a guy that's going to run your offense, but he's not Steph Curry either. He's not that kind of explosive player. So if you're going to be 6'2", 6'3", you have to really kind of be one of those archetypes to stick. Another guy would be like a Mark Price. You have to be that kind of, or a John Stockton. You have to either be that elite point guard or that elite shooter. And if you're going to be that size. And I just don't know if I see either one out of him.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, I think that the jury's still out because he hadn't really had an opportunity to do much. But I think, he'll get his chance, and we'll see if he'll step up.
He'd be a great shooter for Wemby.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate giving him a chance at some point.
I think he might be kind of like Mamu in the sense that, Rob, you're right. Like, he's clearly an NBA player. He goes to the G League, and it's not even like a contest. He dominates. But it's just that like, he might not be a constant rotation piece,
Right, but he'll be on a roster helping a team. If there's a couple injuries, you could plug and play him, and it really wouldn't hurt what you're doing out there, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure he'll get a chance soon.
It's a fun diversion. I like talking a little bit more of that as we get closer to the draft.
He'll get a Şengün.
Yeah. All right. Enough talking about the fucking Rockets. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's move on to a series that's been kind of a fucking blowout. But OKC Memphis. Are we just completely writing Memphis off, and every game's going to be a 50-point blowout? Or
I mean, I don't know if it'll be 50, but
I mean, they got to show some life today, man. They got to show something today.
right? I mean, according to Ja, we're never going to play that bad again, right?
I mean, Rob, to your point last week, the average margin of victory is nearing 20 points for the 4 regular season games for these teams. And I heard Zach Lowe say it earlier, I think it was yesterday. This Grizzlies team has talked a lot of shit over the last 4 years to win one playoff series.
Yep. I thought the same thing. I was like, this Memphis team has kind of like built up a reputation of like being tough and like being gritty. And I'm like, what is this built off of again? Like where's the resume? Because I'm not seeing it.
No.
And you know what? Like even on a night where SGA goes 4 for 13 and it seems like he's cold, they still get diced up, and it's the 5th largest playoff win in NBA history. And yeah, I just don't see how, even if you don't play this bad again, okay, you don't get 50 piece, you get 30 pieced. Fine.
Yeah.
It's like
And I don't want to steal all of my original thoughts from Zach Lowe, but like, is there a terrible difference between this offense, the Grizzlies offense run by Scottie Pippen Jr. as opposed to Ja Morant? Like, I'm not saying Ja Morant isn't as good of a player. Obviously, we know that. But like,
There's a reason
for
the
the
ball wasn't in
function
his
as
hand.
a team, you know?
yeah, I mean, I think Scottie Pippen Jr., like, he definitely is a more like, I'm going to pass people open. I'm going to find the right guy at the right time. Ja Morant is really like, I'm going to create my own shot, and then I'm going to distribute based on where I am in the process of creating my own situation. And so I view them as very different point guards. And yeah, I do see differences in the offense. And yeah, I don't think Ja Morant is one of those guys that's going to really lead to winning basketball. Kind of like earlier when we were talking about Jalen Brunson. I think great player, but there's a limit to where you're going to go as a squad when he's your best guy.
Yeah.
Well, and I think historically we've seen it, right? Like 2 teams have won championships with guys 6'3" or shorter as their best player. It was the Bad Boys Pistons and the Warriors of late. That's about it. It was Isaiah Thomas and Steph Curry.
Oh yeah.
And so like unless you're one of those guys who are 2 of probably the 7 or 8 greatest point guards of all time, I mean, just generally the odds are against you if your best player is 6'3" or under.
That's fair. And honestly, dude, Isaiah Hartenstein, he only had 8 rebounds, but I felt like he had 80 rebounds during that game. It just seemed he was always just grabbing a board, offense, or hustling down, stopping a play, things of that nature. So this Oklahoma City team is complete. They're deep. They know their role. They know that they're going to have to either go with SGA or they're going to have to carry him like they did, this past game. And if they're on and if they have home court advantage the entire playoffs, I mean it's not going to be easy in Oklahoma. But this team look like the number 1 seed. They look like the number 1 seed.
Yes.
They're just fundamentally solid as hell. Just across all facets, they play the game the right way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I don't mean to glaze them too much, but like this, like just watching them play, like this is one of the best teams I've ever seen that turns defense into transition offense. Yeah. They have an absolutely smothering defense, and they can switch, and the defense doesn't lag because they just have defender after defender that knows their role and that can step up and be physical. And then they turn it to offense instantly, and it's fluid offense that makes sense, and it's just selfless too. And so I view them as just one of the most dangerous teams I've ever seen because it flows like that. And the only thing that's really missing is that experience component where it's just, hey, whenever we get further in the playoffs and our shoes start to shake a little bit because the arena is so loud that we can't even hear our own thoughts, it's like that's the moment where I'm really starting to question them. But up until that point, they're the best team in the league, and it's not even close.
Yeah. And the numbers bear that out.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see, to your point, Rob, I think that's when a guy like Alex Caruso comes in and he's like, I know what it's like to be on the championship team. Like, let's calm down. This is what we need to accomplish. Now, granted, asterisk, it was in the bubble, all that stuff, but still, he is an NBA champion, and the pressure is still pressure. So, but I also think these Grizzlies are going to get shot in the wilderness by some Thunders.
Yeah, they're gonna get sprayed with some bear mace.
Bad.
Yep. Another team that I feel like is about to get taken out back, the Magic. They're definitely just uphill battling a Celtics team that is very well put together. Obviously, defending champs, but the Celtics really put together a strategy of like, we're gonna let Paolo and Franz score. And they combined for 59 points, but no one else scored over 7 points. They basically just isolated everyone else and was like, you know what? No one else is going to do a damn thing.
Yep, the Magic don't have the horses, but I think, they have a glimmer of hope. They played the first half close, and Jason Tatum seems doubtful for game 2 based on the latest reports. So, if Jason Tatum is doubtful for game 2 and Jaylen Brown's getting needles in his knee between games, just going forward, that might be something to watch. But I think it'd be good for all of us if Orlando was somehow able to shake it up and get game 2.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just hard to fathom that. The Celtics are just kind of playing that old school kind of Spurs mentality of we'll let your two best players get theirs and we're going to just shut everyone else down. But I will say it watching the Celtics game, watching Peyton Pritchard shoot the ball it makes me smile because it's such a good looking shot. And I need to watch more Celtics basketball. And I always catch myself going, God, he's such a good stroke. Like just confidence and just beautiful every single time.
Yo.
Yeah, I know. My bad.
Pause.
But I thought it was wild that Jason Tatum goes down and Joe Mazzulla's like, get up. Like, no, don't send the trainer out there. It's like, dude, that's your best player. You're paying him so much money. Like, get 2 trainers out there. Like, tell him to stay down. Like, we got to assess this very, very carefully. But that's just a hard ass that Joe Mazzulla is. He's Pop 2.0.
No, I can see the Bob Huggins and Joe Mazzulla, having known that he played for Bob Huggins in college. You see it there. It's just like that's something that you can see someone, like a powerful college coach doing. It's just like, get up.
He just needs a stool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like that's 300 pounds of alcohol weight.
Those are the kind of coaches that. Those are the kind of coaches I resonate with. The coaches that just don't give a flying fuck about how you feel about something. You just get the fuck up. I played for Ken Dweese, and that's how he was. But at the same time, yeah, I don't think that there's anything that the Magic are going to do that's going to throw the Celtics off their game, because even if Jaylen Brown is banged up, Jason Tatum is doubtful, they still have Derek White putting up a 30 burger, and Peyton Pritchard hitting some really key threes, putting up a 19 spot. So they're just such a well balanced team that a team like Orlando just has no shot.
Unfortunately, no, they don't. Yeah. Not this year.
Yeah, not this year, but they're building something out in Orlando, and it's not just a new amusement park. But yeah, let's move right along to another equally kind of a not really super exciting series, but Cavs Heat. How are we feeling about Cavs Heat?
If I was a player on the Cavs team, I'd be pretty excited because I know I could go out for a night on South Beach for games 3 and game 4, and it wouldn't really hurt us because we're just going to kick their ass anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
Man. I like Tyler Hero, but he can't be a number one. I think he needs someone else, and he can be a 1B. or a two, however you want to describe it. But he just needs that other person to really make his impact on a game.
Yeah. The Heat are a fun team of, oh, well, that's who he plays for now.
That's spot on.
Nailed it. You nailed that, James.
It's just like this team screams 8 seed, and I think just Cleveland's gonna make easy work out of them. This won't take long.
Oh yeah. I mean, Cleveland is showing why they've been one of the best teams all year long, and they're built in the same way that the Celtics are built. Because, I watched Evan Mobley have a very lackluster game. His offense didn't really look like it was coming together. But then you had Ty Jerome have a 28-point game off the bench. You still had Garland put up 27, Mitchell put up 30. You had guys step up, even though some of their key front court players didn't really come to play offensively. And so they're just such a well balanced team that one guy doesn't play well, 2 or 3 other guys will step up.
Yep.
Yeah, they might be the deepest team in the East.
I would say they are the deepest team.
Oh yeah. I mean, I hate to give Ty Jerome a shout out, but yeah, yeah.
Anyone on that 2019 UVA team is dead to me.
Right. You could just
and they have 2 guys from that team.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
But at the same time, it's at the same time, yeah, this is going to be light work. Cleveland's going to mow right through Miami, and probably a sweep.
And thanks for playing.
Yeah, hell, maybe they'll just stay in Miami for a few days.
Why not?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Better than being in Cleveland.
Yeah, yeah.
Cleveland rocks. That's what I heard.
Cleveland rocks. Yeah.
And finally, we got one more series, right? It's the last one.
Yep, we got Pacers Milwaukee. I was waiting to do this one last because this game 2 is currently happening right now, and it looks like throughout the first quarter, the Pacers are starting off the game really well. They have like a double-digit lead on the Bucks, and looking like they're really taking a stranglehold of the series.
Dude, it's the Milwaukee Giannis's versus the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah,
that's literally what it is. And the crowd got into Giannis's head, counting on the free throws, and he was missing free throws. And it's unless someone else steps up, which I just don't see it happening. Kyle Kuzma going 0 for everything, pulling
the Tony Snell special.
Yeah, just this team is Giannis, and that's it. So I'm going to tie this back to the Spurs. I've seen some fun rumors, some fun trade potentials of us giving up. I think it was like Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, Harrison Barnes, and a couple number ones for Giannis. And
man, we're getting into Heat fan territory now. if I start seeing Photoshops, I might delete my account.
You might have to, because I saw some good ones. I was like, I can get around Giannis in a Spurs jersey.
Yeah, I could definitely subscribe to that kind of thinking.
But I mean, Dame Lillard is a medical marvel, and for what exactly?
Honestly, I think the only reason he's playing is because he and Halliburton were talking shit to each other, and he was like, "I'll bust your ass," and then Halliburton was like, "You're not even fucking playing right now," and he's like, "You bet? Okay, bet. I'm playing."
But
it's like, all right, man. Well, I guess blood clots don't last too long in shorter people.
Right. I mean, it's like you got deep vein thrombosis 1 month, and then the next, couple weeks you're fine. It's like, oh, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
but also, and like for what? This Bucks team seems a bit overmatched in this series, do they not?
They do.
And so it's just like, wouldn't it have been better to just put your eggs in next year's basket? I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't seem worth it.
I just don't think this Damian Lillard experience is working out very well for them, and they've given up way too much for that guy, and they kind of lost their core and their people that need to that were winning for them. And Bobby Portis is a shell of himself.
Ownership matters, and you kind of thought that there might be dark clouds on the horizon when Jimmy Haslam bought the team. Just look at his other team, the Cleveland Browns. I mean, how does that inspire confidence in any way?
I don't want to look at the Browns at all. Don't make me do that, James.
Well, I mean, this is the man that was taking advice from homeless people and drafting Johnny Manziel. And so it's just like, when it comes to that, do you really expect to get that kind of leadership from the top? And is this the person that's going to make the most out of Giannis's prime? Are they going to be willing to go over the luxury tax to field the best team? And so far, since they've taken over a champion, by the way, the answer's been no.
Right. They've been very Doc Rivers. that sums up them all in a nutshell. But at the same time, yeah, it's very interesting to see, how that series will shake out because, on paper, if Dame comes back, that should be enough firepower to at least put up a fight. But, like you were saying, AJ, this Dame in Milwaukee sort of pairing hasn't led to as much success as a lot of people would think. But yeah, it's currently 33-20, and Indiana looks like they're taking care of business in the first quarter. So I don't really think that this is going to be much of a series.
But I would say the Bucks need to really look at themselves in the mirror during the offseason and figure out what they want to do. They need
kind of like the Knicks.
They need to blow it up, get rid of Giannis, and try to get some younger talent and just try again. Or they need to blow it up and keep Giannis and try to get younger talent around Giannis. But they need to make some kind of decision. Otherwise, Giannis is going to walk and they're not going to get anything for it.
That's true. Yeah, just shit or get off the pot because Giannis really doesn't have a lot of time left in his ability to be like the best player in a championship kind of push.
Yeah, man. How long he's been in the league now and he still can't really make a jumper? Like he literally is head down to the basket, and it works and it's great, but your body can only last so long doing that.
Right. He's been
Bit
playing
of a Cam Newton approach.
Right. Yeah. That'll bite you in the ass eventually. But yeah, we went through every single matchup, and yeah, I think a lot of our predictions are turning out well. Only a couple of them are looking like they're stinkers, but at the end of the day, yeah, a lot of fun basketball on the horizon for us. If you've been here listening to the podcast, we appreciate you. We absolutely love all of the engagement that you give us, all the comments and the shares and the likes. Whether you're listening on YouTube or you're listening on TikTok, Apple Podcast, all of the above, we just really, really appreciate your engagement. This podcast would not be the same if you were not here. So just know that we really, really appreciate everything that you do for us.
Amen that.
But yeah, we got some dunks we got to get to, gentlemen. We got to dunk on some people.
Rob, why don't you start us off?
All right, I'm gonna start off with just I had a different dunk lined up, but I had to change my dunk this morning. A couple of kids tried to steal my car this morning, so I'm gonna dunk on those kids that tried to break my handle of my car. And they tried to steal it this morning. I didn't know exactly what they were doing, but they kind of just ran away when I came out of my front door. And yeah, I didn't know what they were doing because it was dark outside. But I'm dunking on those kids because I know they were kids. I know they're maybe like 16, 17 years old or whatever. But those fuckers, if I see them back here, it's on sight.
Yeah, dude. We're like, hey.
Did you see them?
I saw them. I didn't see them actually doing the act of like breaking into my car. I saw them like as they were like walking away. They looked shady as hell, and I'm like, they're up to no good. But like I didn't know exactly what they were doing. But yeah, and then I saw that like my lock mechanism on my door handle was kind of fucked up, and I was like, oh, they tried to break into my car, and so it was.
Did you have anything in there?
Jeez. No, they didn't even get into my car. They just fucked with the lock a little bit, and
Those little bastards, man.
Yeah, I mean,
they probably live in your complex too. So.
Oh yeah, well, hey, in 3 weeks I'm moving to a different complex, so there we go.
There you go.
Yep.
That would be the dumbest crime ever. You're stealing your neighbor's car. Where are you going to put it?
Right. Yeah, you got to take it to a chop shop immediately. But yeah, I'm dunking on those dumbass kids for trying to steal my car.
That damn kids.
AJ.
I know we've dunked on this guy several times in the past, and I'm gonna do it again. Nico Harrison, buddy, shut the hell up. You didn't know Luka was beloved by the fan base? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Literally, they build Luka as the next Dirk. Dirk and him were hand in hand together. He was the second coming, and you're going to be shocked on how loved he was in the organization. Do you live under a fucking rock? Like, bro,
Yeah, yes.
I'm in the same boat as Charles Barkley. Stop doing press conferences. Like, you just need to go away. Like, we don't see Brian Wright do any press conferences, and when he does, we're like, all right, cool, thanks, and he doesn't say anything. That's what Nico Harrison needs to do. Like, the fact that those words even came out of your mouth, like, what, Luka was one of the top 5 jersey sales of the Mavs during the time he was there. I think he was number 1 this past year. Like, dude, what are you talking about? There's murals around Dallas of Luka Doncic. Like, you can't get around it. So dunk on Nico Harrison just continuing to be a dumbass.
And
That's
and
a
honestly,
very worthy dunk.
and he had the nerve to say, "I think I'm doing a pretty good job." After that, like those exact words came out of his mouth, and it was like, "Holy shit! You weren't aware how big of a deal Luka was, and you still feel like you're doing a good job."
You didn't make the playoffs, and you were 4th seed when you made the trade.
Did y'all read the Tim McMahon piece that hit ESPN.com yesterday morning?
I need to. I heard about it.
Y'all absolutely should, because it goes so much further than the Luka trade. That was just the cherry on top of how Nico has just completely dismantled a functional organization just for the sake of him wanting to be right. So
Yeah.
I would highly recommend anyone out there go read that piece. It hit ESPN.com yesterday from Tim McMahon, who I've dunked on before, but this was very eye-opening.
Yeah. Who you got, James?
So I have Paul
Like,
Heyman.
I'm dunking on Tim McMahon.
No, Paul Heyman. Being
That was my second pick.
being a heel wrestling character is not licensed to be a dick in the real world.
I agree.
It is not. And WWE had this genius idea, and genius is in air quotes because it was a fucking terrible idea, to have a roast of WrestleMania hosted by Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
And there's a reason that none of the clips are out there publicized by WWE, because what's out there is just terrible. It's Paul Heyman and Gabriel Iglesias arguing. It's Paul Heyman saying racist stuff. And then you have him going on Pat McAfee yesterday and airing out ESPN's dirty laundry. And look, I love Paul Heyman as an on-screen character, but like I said, being a heel, quote unquote, is not licensed to be an absolutely terrible person, which we all know he is. But at the same time, it's like some of this stuff shouldn't need to be said. Roast or no roast, it doesn't matter. And so
The roast wasn't even funny, James. Like, it wasn't even like, oh, that was clever. It was good. It was just bad. It was just bad, and they were just saying dirty stuff just to say dirty stuff. And on top of all of that, like, you and I know this. Austin from Rambo Renaissance knows this. Even Rob might know this. Wrestling is a very inclusive community. Everyone is welcome. Everyone is more than happy to be who they want to be, and you can literally get away with a lot of stuff. But when you start to kind of cross that line and you start excluding some of these communities, then that's when it starts to get real ugly. And that's what we saw with that roast. And roasts are just not meant for WWE, unfortunately. Yeah. I love a good roast. If it's clever like Tom Brady's and all those fun jokes, sure. But if you're going to start just saying, suck my dick and blah, 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 just to say it, like, it's not funny.
Yeah, no, right. It was not funny, and I just think that out of all the good that's come of WrestleMania, being involved in one of the top storylines is not what I think about when I think of Paul Heyman right now.
Yeah,
it's all the other stupid shit that he said, and
stupid tan.
And yeah, I just had to dunk on that because someone that's been around as long and done this game should have a little bit better sense of real world PR.
Agreed.
All right. Well, there we go. Some good,
You've
healthy
been dunked
dunks.
on, you fat shit.
Some good, healthy yams. I love it. I love it. Well, everyone, if you're still here listening to the podcast and you just heard those fantastic dunks that we just displayed in front of you, we really appreciate you. We really love you. Once again, this podcast would not be the same without you. But we're going to end this podcast the same way we end all of our episodes, and that's with a go Spurs, a go.